Video được Việt
Welcome
hóa
to
bởi
chapter
Ngọc Tân
2,
từ group
which
tài
is
nguyên
when we're
dựng phim.
actually going to start jumping into learning specifically about resolve. In this lesson, we're going to look at our very first concept, which is what is resolve? Like, what does it actually do? Well, resolve is designed to be a complete post-production tool. What that means is that basically everything that you do after you're done with shooting, you can do in Resolve. So that's everything from managing your media, copying files from your camera card onto your system, organizing your footage, tagging it with information, renaming it, doing all of those kind of things. That can all happen in Resolve. Editing timelines, putting things together as a story, as a cohesive video, that happens in Resolve. Color correction and creative color looks, audio mixing and sound effects, visual effects like explosions and fire and fog, putting different layers together, kind of the stuff that you would generally use in image editing program. You can do that in Resolve. Motion graphics and animations happen in Resolve, and even your final render for putting your project on YouTube or sending to Netflix or whatever you're doing. All of this kind of happens inside of Resolve. Traditionally, the way that things worked, where you might have your media app or somebody who's managing media, they might do that in the editing app. But let's say we have that goes into the editing app. You do all of your editing, you put everything all together, and then you bring some shots into your compositing app and you do graphics, you do effects and everything. And when I say bring things into a compositing app, I mean render them out, make new video files and bring them into your compositor. And then you'd make new video files from that and bring them back into your editing app. And once you were happy with all of your edits, you could take your edits and bring them out to your color app and maybe do your audio mixing in your audio app. And then again, those would usually go back to your editing app, and your color would also go back into your editing app. And then once everything was put together again in your editing app, you would put that out to a rendering app of some kind. Or you might be able to render from the editing app itself. But you can see how things get a little complicated going in between programs for different jobs. And the idea with Resolve is that all of those things happen in the same app. Resolve is kind of a one-stop shop for anything post-production. If you want to do color correction, you can do color. If you want to do editing, you can do editing. And you can do any or all or only one of all of these major post-production tasks inside of Resolve. And the good news is you don't need to know everything about all of these to use it. If you're just into editing and you don't care about doing really fancy audio mixes or really fancy color or even graphics or whatever, you just want to get a quick edit done, Resolve can do that. If you want to get super intense with your effects and composite CG things and make, blockbuster movie effects, you can do that in Resolve and you don't have to worry about all the other stuff. And the cool thing is that all of this stuff is available in the free version. There isn't a big part that's limited with getting DaVinci Resolve versus Resolve Studio. There are some fancy things that you can do in Resolve Studio that you can't do inside of the free version, but they're pretty minimal. And for like 90% of what you would ever do, the free version would work great. So again, if you're used to this kind of workflow, Resolve is going to be a breath of fresh air for you. If you've never really done a whole lot of video post-production, well, I guess you can just appreciate that this is how things have always been. And this is sort of when, your granddad says that you're spoiled because you don't have to walk uphill both ways to school in the snow. And having worked this way for a really long time, I'm very excited to work with an app like Resolve that can do everything, and it does everything really well. So that's our first major concept. Resolve is a complete post tool.
Video được Việt hóa bởi Ngọc Tân từ group tài nguyên dựng phim.